we're going to have a little bit of fun today. I get a lot of questions. I wish I could document everything I go through and all the absurdity that, we hear. Because to be honest with you, half of my job is, coaching people through buying a house, and the other half is kind of being a therapist because these questions come up and, they don't know who else to turn to. Is this stuff common? Does everybody feel like this going through the process, whether you're a buyer or a seller? And one of my favorite places to dig into is actually Reddit. This is what's fun about Reddit. There's always something wrong. Let me read this real quick. So, closed on my first house in April and moved in June. Just seems like an endless list of shit that needs to get done. This wasn't a fixer-upper house, but it was a remote closing and the sellers lied about repairs made. Lawyer said we have a case. In these 2 months, I have fixed the water heater, had a hornet's nest the size of a beach ball removed from the attic, fixed the HVAC, repainted the entire interior, still not done. There's a termite nest 30 feet from our house, so I'm getting the bait poison preventative treatment installed. Crawl space is fucked and needs to be encapsulated. The driveway needs to be smoothed out and redone. The insulation in the attic needs to be replaced, and the attic needs to be sealed up and treated for rodents, and the fence needs to get at least repaired and ideally replaced. I've already put about $4,800 into repair into this house, and I'm about to drop another $10K. I will need to finance this. If I do some of the work myself, I'm still looking at a total of $25K in repairs. I did the home inspection, had multiple remote walkthroughs, had repair addendums, and I'm still looking at dropping an additional $30K into this house. This isn't even including how much I've spent to furnish and make it livable. I just want to start saving. This whole process has torn through my savings account and has really put a strain on my marriage. We moved across the country for this house. Is it always like this? Is this a normal experience? So there's several things to unpack here. So let's starting with, just in general, like buying a house and it being, not being a fixer-upper. Is this how it goes? Yes, this is how it goes. Stuff's breaking all the time. And stuff's breaking at the most inopportune moment. I mean, just to give you an idea, and it's not always just about stuff breaking. I actually got married a little bit, under a year ago. Speaking of, we got first anniversary coming up soon. Besides the point. So we had family coming in from out of town. We never have family coming in from out of town. I mean, my family's back in Chicago, and they've never come out and visited me properly. And I kid you not, within the 2 weeks leading up to the wedding, family coming in from all over the country. And I'm very handy. Like, I have a contracting background. I flip houses. Like, I know houses. I know how to fix stuff. I can fix most things that are broken, and I'll tip my hat to that because I'm pretty good at it. But a couple of weeks before the wedding, we had our tub get so clogged that water was impassable. We had to cut a hole in the wall and then cut a hole in the drainage pipe to get the snake down there properly to unleash this clog. It was just a hairball, but it got that extreme. Our 1-year-old dog at the time decided to chew a football-size hole into the couch. It never had anything like that before, and then she knew family was coming over and decided to chew up an entire basketball-sized hole in the couch. That's great. Can't replace that a week before your wedding. A day after we got married, my car broke down as I was driving back to drop off the linens that we would have been charged like $400 for not returning that day. Totally shit the bed on the car, blown engine, like hit 200,000 miles, and man, it just decided to give up on life. There were like 3 or 4 other things that happened right before the wedding took place. And yes, this stuff is going to happen. It happens all the time. It happens to everybody. So you just got to be prepared for it. And I always tell this to my friends, right? I'm a real estate agent. I help you buy a house. That doesn't mean I know the house, right? You can reach out to me, ask for contractors, things like that when stuff breaks. But expect your water heater to break a week after you move in. That's just how it goes. So yes, that is totally common. Now, in these 2 months, let's go over this list of things that have fixed. Fix the water heater, blown element. Okay, it happens. Like, even if you do an inspection, like, that's not going to pull up. So that sucks. Had a hornet's nest the size of a beach ball removed from the attic. This is an inspection problem. This should have been caught. Like, No questions about this. If someone peeked up in your attic to have a nest that size, should have been caught through a home inspection. So failure from the home inspector. Fix the HVAC TXV valve. I actually don't know what that is. Maybe it didn't come up in the inspection. That sucks. Just kind of one of those things that happens. Repainted the entire interior. That has nothing to do with inspection. You knew that before going in. There's a termite nest 30 feet from our house. Like, I don't know. What are you going to do about that? Scratch it off the list. Not anybody's fault. Crawl space is fucked and needs to be encapsulated. Like, okay, so here we go again. Like, you should have known what the crawl space condition was before moving into the house. If there was moisture that was coming in, if it needed to be encapsulated, like, you should have known that based on efflorescence on the wall, based on the dirt that was currently there. Was it damp or not? Like, so kind of one of those things, like, should have known before buying. The driveway needs to be smoothed out and redone. Has nothing to do with the house. Like, you knew that before buying. Insulation in the attic needs to be replaced. You should know that based on the inspection on how much insulation is in your attic. And the attic needs to be sealed up and treated for rodents. And the fence needs to get at least repaired and ideally priced. So, or ideally replaced. So, yeah, what I'm seeing in this is that you basically have 3 items that an inspector just failed you on. The other stuff, there's no way to really tell on a home inspection. So yes, this can happen on any single home, anywhere. They've already put about $4,800 into repairs into this house and about to drop another 10 grand. So this is kind of the market that we're in right now, right? When there's more buyers than there are sellers, when it's a little bit competitive on the buy side, like, you make decisions that maybe you wouldn't make in a normalized market where there's less competition. You have more time to do your due diligence. Now, buying a house remotely is not easy. I think that's the root of the problem on this one, and I think it could have been handled better. First of all, it's worth flying out for $300 to $500 to go spend a day in the house and really just sit in it, go through everything with a fine-tooth comb like you would be if you were already living there. Buying a house sight unseen does not mean that you should not visit the house. I have several buyers right now that are out of the state and they're looking to buy, but I'll do the front end due diligence on stuff with looking at the house, doing video walkthroughs with them, all that sorts of stuff. But if we get under contract, you better believe the next thing that the buyer's going to do is be booking a plane ticket to come out here, because there's no way I'm going to be responsible for them buying a home that doesn't actually work for them. And yeah, that might include coming out here twice, but you spend $1,000 to go out and visit a home, especially if you're moving across country. Like, there were some balls dropped here on this one.